Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome to our second live show of the day. This is our launch day, something we look forward to every single month when the brand new collection launches and you get the chance to see it first, to get it home first. I know many of you that purchased it in the first hour at 9 o'clock this morning have already got your orders picked, packed and posted. I've got to let you know, in one live hour, this is pretty amazing, 35% of the stock of the brand new collection has gone, and also our extra card shape, which we're going to show you as well, that's 35% gone as well. But I think what Carnation have done brilliantly this time, every collection is brilliant, but this time you've actually got, I think, double in it what you'd expect to get for this sort of price of $99.99. First thing that you notice, the showstopper, that first element that is, it looks like a palatial front of a hotel or something. It's actually an orangery or a greenhouse or a conservatory. If I open up this box for a second to show you inside, take a little look at this, because you've got the dies to make the box in this collection. That I find amazing. I was talking to Carla and Taz a few minutes ago, that if you went to a card shop and bought a box like this of similar dimension, you'd be looking at $3.99 for a plain box, not decorated, just a plain box to put a three-dimensional card in. You're getting the dies today to make the box, in addition to what's inside it. Look at this. Obviously, any dimensional card can go in this box, and we're all, I'm sure, doing decoupage and 3D elements, and there's been so many Carnation collections that have got like 3D elements to it, maybe Christmas collections that you're thinking of sending. How are we going to send that in the post? How am I going to put that in an envelope? It's going to get crushed. Now you've got the box to put them in. But look at the dimension on this orangery. I'm calling it an orangery, they're calling it a greenhouse. It could be really whatever you want it to be. It could be a conservatory on the side of a beautiful stately home where you go and have a meal. Here though, we've got the Carnation characters, and they're tending their fruit, they're tending their flowers. But look at the dimension. And you can make it 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D. You can have as many layers of this as you wish. And the artwork as well, if you're looking at the artwork thinking, oh, that's been coloured in beautifully well, how have they done that? Carnation do it for you. So you've actually got two colorways for the actual greenhouse or the orangery, a darker one and a lighter one, which this is the lighter one obviously. But you've then got all the other elements that you can put into your building, into your structure. So have a little look at the collection. There's so much in here, and that's why for $99.99 it's such a bargain. It really, really is. That's why 35%'s gone in one live show. The first die set, the Botanical Sanctuary is what they're calling it. You've got the building shape, okay? Now you can obviously have it open. You can have pots and plants, of course, on the different shelves. You could put acetate into it to make it look like glass, and that would get it even more strength and structure. But then around the outside edge, which is hard to see unless you kind of look very carefully, you've got the die that will score and cut all the lines to make the boxes. It's like two shadow boxes, isn't it? That have been put together with a hinge, so you can have them. You can use them as shadow boxes if you want to. Use them separately, but together they create this wonderful presentation box into which you can put your amazing card. Now, when we started the show 3 minutes ago, 35% of the stock had gone. That was our update. I've just been told now 40% of the stock of this has gone. So that's the main part to me. You've also got what they call, unceremoniously, they call it a belly band. But basically that's a strap that you can put around your card, which condenses it, kind of compresses it, so it makes it easier to go into the box. So that's in there as well. Then, when you've got your conservatory, your greenhouse, you want to have things growing inside it. That's where the flourishing well comes in, because you've got your beautiful topiary, you've got your stunning, you've got lemon plants in there, tomato plants in there, you've got some growing on canes as well. Then over here, you've got your garden essentials. Now, any greenhouse, you need a watering can, that's in there. You need your tools, you've got those in there as well. You've got your composter, that's in there too. And you've also got your various different kind of flower planters that you can see there too. And then on this side, you've again got some Carnation characters. You've got the most adorable geese. We reckon it's a gaggle of geese. No one corrected us on that, so I think it is a gaggle of geese. You could even have them dapper, because it does look quite posh, so you can put a little dicky bow tie on them if you want to as well. That's in there too. But I love the goose with his neck on one side, just kind of saying, what are you saying? What are you talking about? And then next to that, you've got the little mice, one that's got his hose, and he's watering the plants, watering his tomato plants or whatever. And then you've got the other one that's kind of, I think, barking instructions to the other one, to be fair. But all of this, it creates a wonderful story. You can tell a story. This is the other colourway, by the way, that you'll find for the greenhouse. There's the belly bands that I was talking about. It kind of keeps everything nice and neat and condenses it, so that when you release that, the whole thing kind of becomes three-dimensional. Yeah, so that's the other colourways. You've got a dark purple and you've got the light kind of off-white grey artwork there too. So all the artwork, if you are brand new to Carnation Crafts, let me explain. You buy the die deal from us today, and the good news is the deal is phenomenal. It's under £100. It should be £114.99, but on launch day, to thank you for watching, we give you a 10% discount. So if you're watching this show, you don't have to be a member of a club or anything like that, but because you're watching the show, you can then enjoy the 10% off. So £114.99 goes down to £99.99. We have PayPal Pay in 3. We've got Clear Pay if you want to spread the cost interest-free available as well. And because you're spending over £50, we say we'll post it to you free of charge. Free P&P. So you get 10% off and free P&P as a thank you for watching this. And you'll be one of the first people in the country or around the world to get this collection. Print off the artwork today so that you've got the artwork ready to die cut when your dies come, and just look forward to building these stories. It's a real storytelling collection, this, featuring the mice, featuring the geese, but also think about other collections you've bought in the past where this is going to work with it beautifully as well. And although it's a greenhouse or an orangery, think of it also as maybe a wedding arch. You could have a couple underneath that arch getting married. It could be there's all sorts of permutations, different ways of using this. 240901, if 40% is gone in one live hour, we've got 2 more shows today, this one at 1 o'clock, 2 more shows tomorrow. You can see it's going quickly. I think everyone realises the value for money on this is absolutely exceptional. Let me show you another couple of finished cards quickly as well. You don't have to put the greenhouse or orangery in the box if you don't want to. Here we've got some beautiful artwork and plants in their pots, so you can make it just a picture in its own right. But it's more of a gift than a card, I think, Carla, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Don't you think so?
It's everything combined, isn't it? So the one thing that we struggle with a lot is how to make envelopes for the cards that won't actually damage the card that's inside,
Yep.
because we're looking at something that keeps it structured. If you've taken all the time to put on all of those elements and to shape them out, to use your silicone gel glue, you really want something that's deep enough to make sure that there's no damage to them. Envelopes, what size do we do? You know, it's going to change every time. With this, you've got a great big expansion. We looked before, it's at least 6.5 by 6.5 inches on the internal of the box. That means your cards can be really strong, really good, really full of dimension, and you've got the protection unit for it. Now, going forward, that means you can use it for all kinds of different cards, which is wonderful, isn't it? But it also means that specifically for this collection today, it seats that greenhouse in perfectly. And then you've got the elements to decorate the box as well. So it's going to be beautiful whichever way you work it, and we will look at how to build it today.
Absolutely. So if you want to go for that, 240901. Just a quick couple of other things to mention. Obviously, when you're buying this, the artwork is free. This is always the gift from Carnation to you, to say thank you for purchasing it. Once you've bought it, just go to carnationcrafts.co.uk. After you've bought it on the website, just go to downloads and then free downloads, and that's where all the artwork for the dies will be. Also, backing papers will be on there as well, free of charge. So you can get all the artwork off, print it off, look at it today, and then the dies hopefully will be with you tomorrow or shortly afterwards. But the perfect papers, now these are 300 GSM card, 48 of them. Always whenever we do a die collection, we always do the card stock to match. So all the artwork, if I grab, let's just grab this card for a second and pop it into the shot there. Bit further, there we go, bit further still. There we go. So you've got all your shades of purple. There's the actual purple building as such. So you've got the lighter shades to coordinate with it well. You can, of course, use these to back maybe the actual box very nicely. So, yeah, every attention to detail is always done by Carnation. These are only $14.99 for 48 sheets of 300 GSM coated cardstock. It's an absolute bargain. And you've got tiny little dots. You've also got diagonal lines on there and the block colours as well. So add that into your order if you'd like to. Now, if you are an international viewer, and we did have on YouTube lots of people from America, Labor Day today in America. Many, I say happy returns for Labor Day? Well, happy Labor Day to you if you've got the day off and you're watching us maybe in the wee small hours of the morning. Your P&P is $4.95 if you're just buying the collection, okay? If you're buying anything else like the perfect papers or anything like that, then that takes it to $14.95 for your shipping and handling. And I know we had a viewer in America recently that said they got their die collection within 5 days of ordering, which for transatlantic shipping is pretty impressive. So yeah, you could be watching us anywhere outside the UK, you can order this as well. Before we go through the boards, there is one more die I want to quickly show you, which is the hanging archway. Now, this is separate to the main collection, and when I looked at it earlier, because you've got these almost like sun's rays at the top and down the bottom, It made me think a little bit Art Deco. So if you've got any Art Deco characters or Art Deco, crafty dies that you like to use, that would work very well with it. But I've got a card here from Barbara Treadwell from the design team, who's cut it out twice, and you get not only this archway, you also get the stand, which you can make from the dies that are in there as well. And you've also got the beautiful flowers in their vases, in their pots as well, that you can decorate with it. Now this is also 40% gone. $49.99 gets you this. It's 240907. Maybe you bought the main collection earlier and you're coming back for this because you're thinking it's going to go really well with it. It will work very well with it, actually. Yeah, if you would like that today, 40% gone already, 240907. Carla's got the boards, and then we're going to show you in this show how to make the box. We did in the previous demonstration how to put the orangery or the greenhouse together. It's all about the box in this show.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have a look at the construction of it, how to make it work, and all of that good stuff. But I want to show you the boards and show you what you're getting in this insanely awesome collection. I've got to tell you, the price is just incredible, isn't it? For the amount you're getting in this, the amount that you're able to do with it, the versatility that we're getting from these dies. That greenhouse can be made up in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be used specifically in the way we showed in the earlier show. You can make almost a box from it. There's loads of different connotations to this, so we get to play our way, and that's a really beautiful place to be. The first starting point, of course, is Botanical Sanctuary, which is this stunning, stunning die set. It's so huge. Now, you can obviously see the main star of the show is the greenhouse, and that's what you see when you look at the die. You see this beautiful house as such, this greenhouse. But actually, this is also the same die that provides that beautiful box. So when we're looking at this, not only am I getting this to play with, if I can just open that, and I'm getting all the elements that go with it, I'm also getting the elements for my card inside it. So suddenly it expanded, didn't it? Not just that, I get the belly band that you can see here that allows me to just pull that card into itself so that I don't get any damage inside the box. That's an incredible boon.
I'm just thinking, Carla, as well, that box, card aside, you could actually use that maybe if you're a crocheter or a knitter and
Yep.
you've given something or want to give something as a gift, or maybe you make necklaces, make jewelry, you could put that in the box as well, so not just for cards.
Absolutely. Well, it's also the fact that when we're talking, let's talk Christmas very briefly. I'm not going to come off this collection, but let's talk very briefly about Christmas. One of the things that Carnation sell wonderfully well, obviously, is the tiny lights, those those aspects. And one of the things that I know I get the most questions about is how do you hide the battery pack? How do you hide the lights behind? When you've got a shadow box like we've got here, I can put the lights all around it. I can create a little hole. The battery pack will sit on the back here, and then I can create on top of it. We've got enough stuff from Carnation to be able to create some stunning elements with this. I could put a piece of vellum that's the same side over here and decorate it with those gorgeous elements we've got from Carnation for Christmas times. Suddenly I've got this beautiful, stunning scene that I can make. And actually, when I open this up and I turn those tiny lights on, I can create a whole Christmas scene. And I think that's pretty spectacular. We've got just something so versatile and useful to us that this is why Carnation changed the game. We want to have things that are not just, for want of a better way of phrasing, prescriptive in the craft industry. We want something that gives us some ability to move forward as crafters. So we get all of this. We've got the added elements. I didn't even mention these before, your tables and your little stools. There's so much going on here, and you're getting so much bang for your buck that basically there's craftability upon craftability. It's the little things like this where we see it, that beautiful signage that we've got and you've seen us using it. But it's not just that. It's that you get also your nesteds with it.
Yep.
So there's these additional dies that you're getting in here, so you can create that dimension that goes through. All the elements you'll see that we use for the box that I'll show you as we go through.
To be fair, if I had a conservatory like that, I'd live in it. I'd certainly have dinner in it, have a dining table in it, that sort of thing. It's amazing.
Mine wouldn't have any plants that are alive in it, I know that. So then we have got your beautiful neighbourhood watch. This is your geese. They're so cute. So you've got the one who's a little, very inquisitive little bird, and then you've got the ones who are just walking along, waddling along, and then you've got the two that are sitting face forward. Really, really sweet. We've got a little dicky bow to make them very fancy, or you can use it as a hairband stand either way, but we've got both sizes. Are you creating a family of geese, for instance? Do you want to have this one standing next to, as such, let's say mummy and daddy and then baby geese? You can do all sorts, can't you? You're changing the story every time you make a card, so every card is different, and that's what we want. We want that expression, don't we? We want to be able to use things in different ways. Then you've got your gorgeous pottering about. The carnation mice. This is something that's synonymous now with the carnation. Excuse me.
Bless you.
No, coughed.
Oh.
The joys. You've got your little seed bag here. You've got your window frames. Then you've got your shears and you've got your little spade and your fork. But they're so cute. They're so evocative of gardening, aren't they? With the little pinnies. Can we just take a note as well to note that they're basically wearing the Carnation Crafts apron?
Oh, they are.
And the
I didn't
Carnation,
notice that.
the Carnation Crafts apron is also, you know, lots of us have the Carnation Crafts apron. Lots of us have bought that in the past. And it's a lovely little apron and they are wearing it all for their gardening, all set up to go. You've then got your gorgeous flourishing well.
Now, Sue Binney, just to interrupt you, sorry. Sue Binney says, hey, Dave, your lemon bush is a pepper plant, but never mind. So what we thought were lemons, I think they're peppers.
Oh, they could be peppers.
Oh, thank you, Sue.
Lemons grow on trees, don't they?
They do.
And
But they look like peppers.
Pointless asking me.
And all the flowers and plants would be ones that have been curated to work within a greenhouse.
Yes.
So your tomatoes, your peppers.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you
So
very much.
thank you, peppers. It is. Yes, you win. Thank you.
As you all know, the botanicals are not actually my forte. You'll be surprised to know. I can tell you all about glue, but don't hit me with any soil because I'm not the best. You've got your steak growing up here as well. You've got your tiny little plant pots. Really important, that greenhouse that we're building. These are going to sit beautifully on the shelves, aren't they? They're going to make a real picture and a real scene. It's those things that tell the story. So when you're crafting, we've said this before, you're narrating a story for the recipient. And so these elements tell that story. They give that power to and that punch to the cards that we make, these little elements that we add. So you've got all of those coming through. So that's a huge die set all on its own. You've then got your gardening essentials here. I love this. I love these boxes. They're so pretty, aren't they? And immediately you're drawn to them. As soon as we sort of pull that board forward, it's the first thing you see are these stunning garden boxes. I'm so sorry. Then we've got the little wheelchair. You've got your gorgeous watering can, your fork and your spade. You've got your little hanging basket. Metals, I don't know how you describe them, but the hanger.
Bracket.
The bracket,
Yeah.
there you go. But it can also be used as corners for your cards. You've got your gorgeous compost tape, your compost bags, your little grounding device here. We always need those grounding devices. Remember how important they are. And then we move on to the extra today. So this is not part of the collection. This is an addition, but man alive, has it been popular? One thing I love about you crafters at home is you know where you're getting your value and your importance for your crafting arsenal. And this is it. This again changes things. I will always say to you to cut two of your base cards, score it at 1/2 inch and stick them together. You don't have to do that anymore. We've now got these gorgeous stands, and those stands change the way that we're working. So you've got the full card made up, and we've got these sort of wings, and if you look at the detail on it, they're angled, and the angle allows the card to stand back. And so it seats itself back as we would hope for any card. So if I sort of put it that way, you can see the angle that it's going on.
Perfect.
It creates that sort of idea of suspension, but it's neat and tidy, isn't it? It's got that extra element to it. And this card shape is just beautiful to use. So it is your hanging archway card shape. Stunning elements through where we get this sort of sun ray, really pretty. You've got the extra nested in the middle. They can create apertures, they can create layers, all of those elements. And then your gorgeous fence post here as well.
And it certainly is definitely a nod to Art Deco as well. It doesn't have to be, but if you wanted to put like an Art Deco character that you've got, a woman or a man or something on there in kind of 1920s dress, that sort of thing, that would look really, really lovely. Because if you walk into a ballroom, maybe in a hotel or something, that could be a feature window in the ballroom. It could be all sorts of things. But it's a stunning, stunning, stunning card shape for $49.99. 40% of that has gone as well, and we're only just 15 minutes, 20 minutes into the second hour of the launch of this. So 240907. Again, just looking at some finished cards quickly to give you some more inspiration. As I said to you before, Barbara Treadwell's done this. She's put two together, and like Carla pointed out and showed you, There's the stand on the back, but of course you've also got the other dies that come with the card shape too. It's not just about the card shape.
Yeah, you've got your extra elements here, which are your fence posts. You saw us using this in the last demonstration. You've got the hinges for the gate, 2 colorways here, purple or white. Now, obviously that's so that they mix and match with the color of the die you're using for your main card shape in the main focus, which is your greenhouse, obviously, so you can mix and match. Little post tops for your pillars. Then you've got these gorgeous large frame florals. And these decorate up brilliantly. They can be used with the Archway card shape, but they can also be used with your greenhouse card shape as well. So you've got both going forward, haven't you? All of these elements coming together. This, I know that they're separate, and I know that this is a separate element, but to me, these pair so beautifully.
They go together.
You'd get them together.
Yeah.
This is one of those moments where you're like, well, actually, this makes one insanely awesome collection, doesn't it, if you get both?
So when you look at the card shape and then just gaze down to the bottom of the packaging, you can see all those extra elements, all those wonderful flowers there. And you, of course, have got the wooden gates and the stands at the back too. So $49.99 for that is an incredible deal. And that's why 40% of that has gone today as well. Now, just in case you are brand new to Carnation TV, Carnation Crafts TV, we launch once a month a brand new collection. This is it today. So you're getting it on day one. So no one else, apart from the people watching the 9 AM show, will have seen this. You'll be getting it posted straight away. I believe it used to be 2 o'clock for our postal pickups on launch day. I'm sure that's still the case. So if you're ordering now at 11:20, your order will be in that batch that gets posted this afternoon at 2 o'clock. You may even get it tomorrow. And if you're watching us internationally, we've heard that we can't promise it's going to be 5 days, but I know one of our viewers in America said that he got his order within 5 days of purchasing. So that's pretty amazing. And if you are watching us abroad, it's $4.95 shipping and handling if you want the collection. If you're going for something extra like perfect papers or whatever, then that takes the shipping and handling to just £14.95. But you can order no matter where you're watching today, because of course the internet is global and many of you are watching us on Facebook and on YouTube, but get it today. But now it's all about the main collection to start off with the demo. We showed you in the earlier show how to do the wonderful conservatory or the greenhouse. This show's all about the box to put it in there.
Yeah, absolutely. So once you've made and you constructed your card, so that gorgeous greenhouse that we've got, we did do this in the last show. Please do subscribe on YouTube to Carnation Crafts TV. It's really important for you guys and for us. It's like a partnership when you do it. If you subscribe to YouTube, and it's free to do that, to the channel, and press the notification bell. First of all, you'll get notified when we're going live. We never go live at silly o'clock, so it's not going to ping you when you're not ready for it. But it keeps you posted when we are going live. But added to that, it means you can go back at any time and watch previous shows, and that could be for any collection that we've done since we've had the studio here. Now, what's really, really great about that is things like this, you can watch back in slow motion. Now, I'm about to show you how to construct the box. It's not complicated by any stretch of the imagination, but you might get this collection home in 2 days and be going, I can't quite remember what I was supposed to do with this. YouTube gives you the option to go back and feed from that to get it. I will just say as well, if you want to, you can mute it. Go to the settings button on YouTube and go to playback speed and play it back really slowly. That means you can craft along as it's going, but you want to mute it, otherwise it makes the voices funny. But it is a tool that you can use in your resources, and it means you can follow along as it's going at a very slow pace. So
Okay,
I hope that helps.
before we get to the box demo, 45% now of the main collection has gone at not even 11:30. So that is really, really, really popular. Now, I get it, I totally get it. To get this main card shape of the conservatory or the orangery, whatever you want to call it, and the box as well with everything else for under £100 is pretty special. 240901, your item number. I know the following of us on YouTube is a really good idea, because we did get a message earlier on from someone that joined the 9 o'clock show late because she wasn't sure what time we were going live. So if you're following us on YouTube, you'll get notification. It is
that little bell that just sends you a little flash up on your phone or whatever and says Carnation Crafts is live. So please don't miss out on that. Right, when we look at the packaging for this main card shape, so for your botanical sanctuary, okay, you'll notice that within that box shape that we've got here, it's absolutely full of everything, okay? So when you're looking at this, you'll see that there is a score line that goes there and a score line that goes there. We need 4 score lines on each side. There's 2 provided. So what they've done in order to make this, shall we say, more reasonable for you, because if this was 2 different dies, you've just doubled the price of your die collection. they've got a nick here and a nick here, not our nick, but a little indent there, and then one there and there, okay? What we're going to do with those is score down that line. So where my little chink is, if you like, there, and I've got matching ones at the bottom, I've just scored it. I've just joined those up. And I've done the same at both sides. So I've now got 4 score lines at either side of my box. I'll be totally honest with you, that's the most complicated part of this.
Right.
It's not difficult. So I've got that. Now, what I've also got here are some little bendy corners, okay? And I can use those and manipulate those to create a sort of a right angle, if you like. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about those at the minute, but I did just want to show you them. Now, I'm going to turn that over and I'm going to cut and score it twice. So I've now got exactly the same thing and I've done it twice, okay?
Yeah.
And all I'm going to do is cross them over. Where I've done my extra score lines, I've now actually created a square. Okay, so I've got a square in the middle and a square on the outside. It's as simple as that.
Now,
you can already see where the construction's coming.
if you don't want to make it into actually a presentation box for a card, I mean, that's a box frame. You could have these
Absolutely.
dotted around your lounge wall, craft room wall with all sorts inside.
Absolutely. Now, my advice, if I wasn't live here today and if I was doing this at home, my advice is get some red liner tape, run it down the edge of your bottom box, right on the edge, so you don't have a gap in between, okay? That's what I would say. I'm live, and if it goes wrong and I get it put down too fast, I'm not going to be able to make the box, which is why I haven't done it live. I'm going to depend on my wet glue, but wet glue is not going to dry quick enough for me, and I'm going to have to use more than I want to in order to demonstrate it. So it's not my... Listen, if you don't want to do it with red liner, use a Pritt stick. That's that's the other way of doing it. But just to make sure I'm squirting some of this out, I'm going to put this flat onto it. So I'm actually putting it onto my cardstock. I'm going to squeeze and drag.
And the everyday glue, by the way, that Carla's using is in stock on our website right now. 7 bottles of it at a great, great price. Pop
So
that
I'm
into
just
your order at the same time when you're going for the main dice.
squeezing and dragging.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to cross, up again and cross. Now, I'm not a fan of using wet glue for construction because that shape that I've just made has a chance of showing through. I don't advise it, but it is a way of making it. I'm going to make sure that those little nicks that I've got there and here are lining up exact. And I'm going to lay it and I'm going to let that rest until that glue has dried. Now, I don't have time to let it rest, but that's what I would be doing.
Now, 2 layers of that cardstock, that's going to make an incredibly strong box for protection, isn't it?
Yeah, I always use 350, so I'm now at a 700 on the construct at the bottom of that. That gives me a lot of support for what I'm doing. It means that it's going to hold together well. Now that I've got that, I want to bring in my score lines, and I'm going to use those box lines. Just going round, and you can see I've now got red liner tape, and all I'm going to do is fold that into that box line so I can take away my red liner tape.
And don't forget all your papers for printing, the ProPrint papers, and also the construction cardstock will be on the website as well if you're needing some of that.
So I just want to create that box, make sure it's seated, and I've got that beautiful construction of the red liner tape. Now, my corners. I've got 2 ways of playing this game. The first way is if I just pull this forward, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one, and I wrap that. My corner, can you see I've got a corner showing here, and there's another corner under it, right? Now, I've got 2 choices. I can leave it like that. That's absolutely fine for me. I'm not worried about that. Or I can push that down, push that down. I can put some adhesive on those 2 so they kiss together, and I can push it, and I've got that beautiful angled corner. That's how you would, as such, I suppose, do it if you were working with wood. If we were creating a frame, you'd want that angle there, and so that's probably the neatest way. Now, I'm going to cover up my corners, so I'm not too worried about it either way. But what I am going to do is take that from there, and I'm going to put a tiny amount of wet glue just on one of them, and only a tiny amount. It's not going to be doing anything, you know, crazy. It's just to give it a little support. So I'm just going to put that in, And then I'm going to make sure that that is stuck down there. Okay, you can
Yeah.
see how the construct is really simple. So I'm going to go quicker now. Same thing. I'm just going to do it this way. So we'll go in for speed.
It was a small ball tool you used for the scoring, yeah?
Just scoreboard. Just your average scoreboard.
Okay. I'm also the die will score 2 of the lines, but there's another 2 you need to do. So just a fine ball tool and a scoreboard is all you need.
Absolutely fine. You might have the adorable scoreable. You might have a We Are one, whichever scoreboard you choose to use. Any of them will be fine. I think it's one thing most of us have as crafters, don't we, as scoreboards?
Oh yeah, a definite must.
So your last one, you're just going to place in. Make sure you've got your construct there, and your construct there, and that's your box done.
And that's
not difficult,
no,
is it?
not at all.
Now, what happens is, because I've now got a 700 GSM on my base, it is super strong. It's fully strong.
Yep.
Okay, so it's going to hold anything. I can choose to then go in and use that as like a box frame, and I can create a card just of that. I can make a card of that, can't I? Remember, I've got those gorgeous stands from the hanging Archway, so I can use the stands at the back to make a card from my box.
So freestanding rather than putting it on the wall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I've got all my depth and build there already, so I can choose to do it that way, or I can choose to continue on and make it as the actual box, which is what we're obviously going to do today. So one of the elements you get are these corners. Now I have cut 4 of these. Now I'm going to double it up, obviously, because I'm going to have the 2 boxes, so this would be 8. Now this is going to hide my workings. Where's my wadgum? So
Your what?
my wadgum. So small amounts of wet glue or red liner, it doesn't matter, but this is going to support the corners. This is going to allow it to be stronger. And again, you can choose to use it in white. I'm going to do it in the brown so you can see what I'm doing. This is free artwork that you get. So you can make those wooden elements here. And I'm just going to allow those to seat. Okay? So we're starting to strengthen and support what we're doing. Now, why is that important? Well, to be honest, it holds together well enough on its own. But covering up your workings is always a pretty way to work. It makes things look more professional, better finish.
And of course, you could use some of the florals to cover up the corners if you wanted to.
You can use anything you want. But this is a really nice way of having an extra tool that allows you to just cover them. What's great about these is they're great for corners for your cards as well. So you can use them for different ways. You don't have to just use them this way. We want versatility. We want to get more for our money, and that's exactly what we get. So just placing these on. And the last one. Just down here, small amounts, spread that through, and we're just placing that on. Okay, so that is that all sorted. Nothing complex is there. So then, here's one I made earlier. I've got both of them seated here. That's on the wonk. Anyway, right, so I've got both of them placed next to each other. I need to create a hinge which allows them to open and close, because that's going to be the mechanism that I use. Now, when I put the 2 boxes together, I've obviously got a clear line going between the 2 boxes, okay? And that's where I need my hinge to be. It's where the mechanism's going to be, isn't it? So I've got these pieces here that have just got a score line. That's it. Nothing more complicated than that. I'm going to fold it backwards on itself.
Is there even a vignette for the hinges?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Everything.
They give you coloured artwork for absolutely everything.
They're amazing. So I've now got these folded backwards on themselves, and all I need to do is place them. So where I've got this, all I'm going to do first, I would do this with red liner. So this is definitely a you choice. Me, red liner every step of the way. Why? Because it's strong. Wet glue is going to move, and it's going to change, and it's going to, you know, warp as it goes, and you don't want that. So let's take some red liner, get some snips, put your glasses on so you can see what you're doing, and then let's go. So I'm just going to snip that off. Right, so first of all, I'm going to put some red liner on both pieces, just going across at the bottom.
Right.
Bottom edge.
Yep.
Bit of Phyllis hair there. Everything I own. And then chop that off, okay? Now that's going to form at the base. Why am I doing it at the bottom and not at the centre point? Well, that hinge point is what's going as such inside the card. I don't want it to be obstructed in any way, so this one, same thing. So right on the edge of both of these pieces is going to be your best bet. So taking this, going through.
I can't believe you even get artwork for the hinges and for the fastenings and everything else.
Well, that's Carnation, isn't it?
Yeah, over and above.
It's always about that attention to detail. Placing that in. So that's one hinge done. Same thing for this one. Right at the edge. And you can see why this is going to be so much stronger than wet glue. Wet glue, quicker, maybe. But the problem with the wet glue is it's going to move, it's going to warp, it's going to change its molecular formation in the heat, which you don't want to have happen.
Ooh.
So
Big word.
just keep yourself on an adhesive that you know to be the correct one for the correct job. The adhesives are not all made equal. Right, now I've got these. I'm going to take my bottom piece off. I'm going to fold it back on itself so I've got that centre crease. Put the box so that my two halves are absolutely bob on. Okay? And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to place wherever I want my hinge to be. That in the centre, remember I didn't put glue on that midpoint. I'm going to place it down and then I know that that hinge is seated correctly.
Gotcha.
Then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to place it down. And now I've got a working mechanism. All right, simple. Yep. Simple, simple. We want simple, but we want strong. Now you can do as many hinges as you want. If you want to make it super strong, if it's flying over to Australia, you might want to put 3 hinges on. Up to you what you choose to do, but obviously your options are open.
And of course, think about it. You can, if you want to, make and sell. So if you want to make these boxes and sell them at craft fairs, nothing's stopping you doing that. I mean, last time I bought a box like that for a card that was dimensional was probably 15, 20 years ago. And they were expensive, really, really expensive. But also they're ornamental. So you can actually just open them up like a book and have them maybe on a tabletop or a coffee table or something. So not only are they practical, they're also ornamental too.
So now I've got a belly band as such. Well, not a belly band, but a closure. Now this little piece you will not be able to see, I don't think, on screen. But I have got a score line that seats at either end. So I've got a score line here and a score line here, okay? So I can choose to fold that and fold that. And I can do my closure in one of 2 ways. I'm just taking half my nail varnish off. Now, I can put some adhesive on the backs of these, place it on and have it adhered at the front, and that will hold it down, and that's a small closure for my band to go through. Or I can lay it flat, and lots of the DT team have done it this way, so you can lay it flat straight out. So I'll work this way to start off with. If we do the next box the next time, I'll do it the other way, but this gives you double the options. Again, you want in red liner for this, really. Yeah. I'm going to do it with wet glue just because it's quicker, but you want that strength, that extra, you know, going through. Red liner tape, best friend.
And red liner tape doesn't deteriorate with age or anything like that?
No, not at all.
That's good.
It's a full stick. Go and investigate your glues. It's the most boring hour you'll spend, but it'll give you a lot of information going forward. Now, what I'm also going to do is take my pokey tool, and where my first crease is, I'm going to hold it, and I'm just very gently going to run to the next crease just to create a slight bowing on that, because then when I pull this flat, I know that as my enclosure goes through, it's not going to get caught on anything, so I'm almost giving it a bowing edge to it. So then I'm just going to choose a spot to put it. You would want to probably use a ruler and just make sure everything's straight. But now, can you see where my shadow comes through? Because I've got that slight bowed edge to it. And that's just going to allow my mechanism to work really, really simple. The next piece, the last piece, is this. I'm absolutely coated in that stuff. I've got 4 little, they look like fingernail marks, don't they?
Yeah.
1, 2,
4 semicircles.
3, 4. And it depends how big the box is, how big the opening is for it. These are your captures. So we want one to go in here, and then I can lift that and just run it over. I can get a handle on it. There you go.
Very
and
clever.
that is going to close my mechanism. Once I've decided which one I want it to be on, where I want it to be, because remember I could put the mechanism, I could glue it here, or I can glue it at the back. It's up to me which way I want to work. So you can choose. If you've got a really strong big depth and you need it to be slightly open, absolutely glue it here. It's up to you what you want to do.
Equally, I suppose if you wanted to use like a tiny magnet or a bit
You
of
can
Velcro.
use Carnation's magnets
yeah.
for that as well. You can use whichever you want to have a magnetic closure. You could use ribbon. You can do all sorts with these. So once I've got that in place, and I tend to put mine in first before I make any commitments, you would probably want to put your card inside as well, so you know that you're committing to it correctly. I'm going to pull that. I'm going to leave a little bit of breathing room. So I don't want to pull it taut. Remember, that's going to cause me problems. I need the recipient to be able to pull that tab forward to put it under to get it back. So I'm going to create just a small loop, and that should give me plenty of room. So there's my loop. You see that's bigger? That's going to give it room to breathe at the front, so that when I turn it over, I can push and the mechanism works perfectly to open up and provide me a little home to put in my card, to close that down, close it through, fully decorate it, do whatever I want to do to make it my own, and then simply close the mechanism.
Isn't it a bit like when you buy a watch or you buy a really lovely piece of jewellery? It comes in the most elaborate box. The box is part of the experience. And it's the same with this, because the card that's inside there is nothing short of glorious and beautiful. But also it could be that you've maybe crocheted or knitted something and you want to put it in a box. You could do that. Maybe you make your own jewellery and you want to put it in a box like that. Maybe a necklace or something like that. You can use it for that as well. But boxes like that are A, hard to find, and B, very expensive when you do find them. And to get... Think of all the decoupage cards you've made over the years that maybe have been kind of squashed into an envelope or a jiffy bag, and they've arrived at their destination a bit worse for wear. This in a box that's got 700
like you this
GSM.
morning, Dave.
700 GSM top and bottom. It's going to really protect what's inside it. Just on a word about the vignettes, in case you're new to Carnation Crafts, let me just show you here, because this is the artwork. We call it vignettes because it is posh. If you go to the website carnationcrafts.co.uk and go to downloads and then click on free downloads, the artwork will be there. Look, there is a darker version of that orangery or greenhouse design in a purple. You've also got it available in this wonderful off-white colour as well. But look at the shading. Nick and his team have given you this artwork free of charge. Then you go on to, it's the same one, then you go on to this. This is what we call a mirrored vignette. So basically by folding on the black line, you then get a front and a back, or a left and a right if it's characters and that sort of thing. But you've got a bleed line all the way around it, which means that when you die cut it, you don't end up with any white edges. And this really fascinated me, and I couldn't quite believe it. These are the hinges and so on that you can use on your folding presentation book. But all that artwork is there for you now free. We always recommend pro print paper to get the best possible colour, and that's on our website if you want to treat yourself to some of that if you're running out, or maybe you're just wondering what paper to use to get the best results. Pro print is the way to go. So yeah, that's there now for you free of charge. If you go to the website and print it off, we will get the dies out to you ASAP. You should get them, well, normally 9 times out of 10, a lot of people who order on launch day get it the next day. Sometimes it's the day after, but we will pick it, pack it and post it, and it will be out to you before probably 2 o'clock or just after 2 o'clock this afternoon. 45% of the main collection has gone. So 45% also of our extra card-shaped collection has gone as well, which is the hanging archway. If you've not seen that yet, because we've been majoring on the boxes and the greenhouses, obviously, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? You get all of the artwork and also all the dies down the bottom for those potted plants that you can see too. You've got the mechanism that creates the stand for the back of that archway, and you've got that very, I think, Art Deco kind of fan design at the top of the arch, which could be a sunrise or a sunset or something like that. And you've got the garden gates there too. So all of that, 240907, brand new today as well, is £49.99 plus your P&P. If you bought the main collection and you're adding that into your order at the same time, it's free P&P, because it always is with us when you spend £50 or over. And just a word about the main deal again, the main collection and the price. Everyone is getting a 10% discount. It used to be you had to use a code or something like that to get it. No, everyone, whether you're new, whether you're an existing customer, and so many of you have ordered this today, should be £114.99. You're getting £15 off today as a thank you for watching the live show. £99.99, free P&P, and also the free artwork to print off as well. And I think this is one of the best value collections Carnation have done in a long time, to get in the same packet the big die to make the orangery or the greenhouse, and to get the die to make the boxes.
It's insane, isn't it?
It is. It's an amazing collection, amazing value for money.
It just gives us more to work with, I think. And as crafters, it's really important that we get the most for our money, because we like to spend our money wisely. But when you've got both things in one, you would never think, looking at that die, that not only are you going to be able to make the most gorgeous card, but also the most incredible strong box to put it in. So you get this presentation box that you give with this card, but it can also be a card on its own. It can be a shadow box. You can do all kinds of things with that one die, and then add the house to it. You've got so much in it, it's insane.
Now, there are a couple of things that I would strongly recommend you treat yourself to if you're buying the collection today. First thing is the perfect papers, because if you look inside this box, Lavinia's made this.
Is that pretty?
That three-dimensional orangery is just amazing. I love it to bits. She's got some acetate in there as well, so if you want to make it look like it's a glass filled orangery or greenhouse, please get clear acetate if you haven't got some already. But she's used the perfect papers to line the inside of the box, which is also going to give extra strength again.
Absolutely.
So look at that, beautiful, isn't it? And why not decorate the front of the box too?
Get your backing papers as well off the Carnation website, and use those to decorate inside, because they are paired with this collection, so it will work that way as well. You do mats and layers on the inside of that box. It would be beautiful, wouldn't they?
If you do want your perfect papers though, we've got 48 300 GSM sheets here, 6 colour variations in colours that are selected to complement the artwork, complement the vignettes, so there'd be no colour clashes whatsoever. You've got a slight pattern on some of them are plain, some of them have got little dots, and other ones have got slight diagonal lines, but you've got lovely beige, different kind of coffee cream colours, and then you've got that beautiful green and the lavender and the slightly lighter pinky colour as well. All of that, 48 sheets for a brilliant price of £14.99. If you're watching us abroad in the States or internationally, your P&P and shipping and handling for the main collection is £4.95. If you're ordering, say, perfect papers or pro print, anything like that that increases the weight, it's capped at £14.95, and that's if you're watching us in the USA or wherever you may be watching us today. Okay, we've got enough time for a little demo.
Well, do some speed demoing. But I do just want to say as well, do you know what would be really amazing with this? My little brain's just been ticking. If you were to open this up and get a card base that's this size, so 6.5 inches, right?
Yeah.
And you maybe had 4 or 5 of those, maybe more, maybe less, and you mountain and valley glue and stick each piece to each other so it zigzags, so that when you open it out, you pull out a book. It would be incredible. You could have one at either side that pulls out.
That's a good idea.
So it would mountain and valley. You could have something insane. Now that, for say for instance, a wedding invitation, would be exquisite, wouldn't it? That
Or
you
it could be a
pull
gift
it
for the
out.
bride and groom with pictures on it.
Absolutely,
Yeah, yeah.
really stunning. Baby books, those kind of things. You know, we've got the new light collection where you've got all those baby elements. So many ways and means of making this something else, isn't it? That's why it's so important. Right, I'll stop blathering. So, I want to make a card that's not either card base, because we've shown both card bases. So let's make one for those of you that also like to use your nested dies and also like to use your plain things as well. So let's bring this in. I'm going to pair this back because I want to talk about Carnation's artwork. The big thing about Carnation is they have this artwork drawn in-house. It's so evocative and so beautiful every time that in actual fact, and I've said this lots of times, but let's put, you know, your money where your mouth is. You don't need a lot to make something exquisite. So let's prove that by making something very pared back, very simple and very, very pretty. I've got one piece of cardstock here and I've got it cut at 5.5 inches by 7.5 inches, just the one piece, okay? From that, I've also then used one of my favourite of Carnation's nested, and I love, love, love the eyelet and ring nested. Always been my favourite, I think, since it first came out. It just really speaks to me. So I've used that to create my matte layer. I've got it on a 3mm foam base. So I'm just going to raise that up. So I've got my tabs. I can find my commitment point. Get it where I want it to be. Place, push, pull. And
Perfect.
that gets it into position. And then I've done that again, this time to cool those tones in white. Now what that does is really softens that green panel behind it, doesn't it? It gives it a subdued hue, and it's really, really pretty. So I'm going to do this again. I've got the 3mm again.
It's very upmarket. The subtlety of the colour in the Perfect Papers.
The Perfect
is
Papers
always,
are exquisite
Yeah.
with this collection.
It's very easy to go bold with colours, and that can sometimes cheapen the way a card looks.
It often, well, it detracts from what you're putting on it.
Yeah.
I want this to be clean. I want it to be simple. I could have done it white on white on white. And I'll tell you for why I didn't. I'm going to be working very clean on this card. And so consequently, white on white on white, I think will detract, not add. And I love white on white. It's my favourite. But sometimes you just need to just throw that balance a little bit. So by using that very small hint of green, that's exactly what we're doing. We're just throwing that extra piece in, and it'll give it more value, more depth to it. Let's put it that way.
I think we've had a bit of a blockage on Facebook with messages because I wasn't getting any come through. Now I've got about 12 coming through in one go. So sorry if I've missed your message. Jenny West says, good morning, Carla, Dave and Taz.
Good morning.
Pearl Farrier asks again, what is the finished size of the box you've just made?
So the actual box itself, the outside dimensions are roughly 8x8. Well, I say roughly, it's 8x8.
Right.
The inside dimension, so in here, your expansion works out about 6.5 by 6.5. I think we worked out, didn't we? It was 17 centimetres, I believe, across. But you can see it here. So it feels to me like it should be bigger than 6.5. If we work that to where that is, yeah, it's about 7, I would say. I'm going to be generous and say 7, but no more. That's going to be your internal workings. For me, I would work at a maximum of 6 3/4 to allow some breathing space. That's
Just
how
one
I
more
would
thing
work.
on the box. Louise Smith says, could you use clear acetate to make a lid for this box, or would that be totally stupid?
No, it wouldn't be totally stupid at all.
You could, couldn't you?
You would just use one of the frames, and then you would construct, as you normally would, your lid to your acetate, and it would be beautiful. And then you could use some ribbon around it or something along those lines, or decorate the acetate with some of your elements. Absolutely stunning. And especially when we're doing things like wedding invitations, right? Because it's a very traditional, beautiful way of doing things. It also means if you're going to a craft fair, for instance, because Carnation give you a free angel policy, if you cut it, you can sell it.
Yeah.
So you can't just go in willy-nilly and take Carnation's artwork, snip it out, and then sell that. You've got to cut it with the die, like fair is fair. But if you're willing to do that, then you can actually use this to put in, say, 3 handmade flat cards that you want to sell for Christmas, and then you put that acetate on top, and it would look stunning, wouldn't it? So there's different ways of playing with it, of course.
Just a quick couple of hellos. Yolanda de Vries in Holland says, I love this box. Hi, Yolanda. Thank you for watching in Holland. Sharon Barsley says, wow, you've done it again, Carnation. Just love this kit and will be adding it to my ever-increasing collection.
Of course, it's beautiful. Right, all I'm doing here, very little. I'm going to take my beautiful geese, shape down that neck, shape out that body, work with the idea of the bowl on the body. So where his neck ends, I'm just going to come in to that spiral point, and then a little bit on the face. Same again. Neck down. Outside first. Break your fibres, and then spiral through to the middle.
When you do that, all the fibres of the feathers kind of protrude a little bit. It looks
Just
really
a
cool.
smidge. Smaller ball tool for the smaller little baby. Let's go down the neck. And then round that wingspan here. Through the bottom, then work your spiral. So now you've got the mini. Now I can't have them concave like that. They're going to look ridiculous. If I put them down, that's not working. So you've got to make sure that you then take them, just pull that neck forward and then pull that head forward. That will give you almost a triptych on them. And so they've got that sort of ripple effect as if the neck is protruding forward. So pull forward and then forward. Same on the little baby, forward and then forward. Okay, so I've got my 3 little geese. Take this beautiful clean card base, take my first one, fill it, tiny little amount on the head. I don't want too much. Place him.
So cute.
See the white on the white playing with each other? This is why the green is so valuable here.
And also, because you've got that dimension where you use the ball tool, you've got a bit of shadow as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Next
If it was
two.
stuck flat, it would just kind of disappear.
Bubba, coming in.
Joe Drinkwater says, can you believe it? I was asked last week if I could make a greenhouse themed card for a lady who loves to grow vegetables. Perfect timing, my order is in. Perfect, Joe. We must
Works
have
out
known something.
very well. Look
Yeah.
at that. Super, super sweet, right? So they're all cuddled in together. Finally, I mean, to be honest, I love that. But let's just finish that off. You are loved.
Isn't that adorable?
All I need to do now is just very simply.
And you sometimes feel as if you have to fill a card every little millimetre of space. You don't. Sometimes the simplest cards are the
Sometimes
most
less
effective.
is more.
Yep.
Now, I've done my 2 frames wrong there as such, in as much as when you're doing your wings, you want one on the outside, one on the inside. It's not going to matter that much, but aesthetically at the back it will matter. I'm not going to worry about it too much for this because we're running out of time, but try and get them opposing if you can. But I'm going to use this, place it down at the bottom, lay it in. And then same again to the side.
So it's a self-supporting card.
Don't need to do that crease.
There you go. Of course, normally cards that don't have stands are basically vertical, whereas this, it's at an arch, almost like an easel, like not an arch, like an angle. Very, very beautiful. So it turns something into more of a permanent picture. So if that's maybe a congratulations on a newborn card, you're going to want to keep that up. You're not going to put that in a drawer. So
It's
sweet.
so cute. They're so sweet.
Now, we are back in an hour and 5 minutes time at 1 o'clock with the last live hour of the day. This is the second show of the day, and already nearly half the stock has gone. Very, very popular. Mainly, I think the reason for this popularity is the fact you're getting the box die, which can obviously make gorgeous boxes that will save you a fortune, and that stunning greenhouse or orangery, conservatory, whatever you want it to be. All of that in one set with all of the others, the characters, the flowers, the peppers, as we now know, they're peppers, not lemons.
I'm so sorry.
And you've got also, of course, your equipment, your your wheelbarrow, you've got your soil leveler, your spades, all that sort of thing, compost there as well. The whole thing, $99.99, 15% for £15 off, 10% discount down to $99.99 for everyone. Free UK PMP because, of course, it's over £50. That's what we do on launch days, and we'll be bringing a new collection out for you. If you do want the perfect papers, they're there, 48 300 GSM sheets to complement the artwork. And don't forget, order it today at the website carnationcrafts.co.uk. Then when you've placed your order, the guys and the ladies in the warehouse then go about their thing, get it into the post. You should get it hopefully, if not tomorrow, the day after. But make sure you then go to downloads, click on free downloads, and then you'll see all the vignettes and the artwork for what's coming in the post in the next few days. Enjoy it. Maybe you've been asked to make a greenhouse card like Joe on the message there on Facebook. Well, this can be a greenhouse, but can also be an awful lot more grander than a greenhouse. It can be very, very much more, and to have that third dimension with them as well, really special. And don't forget the other card shape we got for you as well for less than £50. That's proving just as popular. Lots of you are going for both of them. The Hanging Archway, $49.99, and that's 240907. We're off for a spot of lunch.